Sir,
I
I
will.
didn't ask you about any of that. I asked you if you
I
understand that
will, however,
Mr. Matson, don't interrupt me. I've muted Mr. Matson's device because he continues to interrupt me and not let me finish what I'm saying.
let me speak to.
I've muted Mr. Matson again because he unmuted himself and interrupted me.
This courtroom hearing was pure chaos. We've got a self-proclaimed sovereign citizen who seems allergic to silence. The judge can't even finish a sentence without him jumping in, spouting off nonsense about oaths, paperwork, and imaginary rights. He's here because he skipped out on his probation officer. Basically, begging for trouble. And now, he's trying to talk his way out of it like he's starring. In some kind of courtroom drama, the judge starts out calm, giving him a fair chance. She asks the simplest question imaginable. Do you understand that you have the right to an attorney? But this guy, he just
Required to advise you at all stages of the proceeding that you do have a right to be represented by an attorney, and if you can't afford an attorney, the court will appoint one for you at public expense. Do you understand that?
I don't think you'd be violating your oath of office, Your Honor, by allowing me to the right to a fighting clause.
Sir, I didn't ask you about any of that. I asked you if you understand.
I will, however,
Mr. Matson, don't interrupt me. The question I asked you is whether you understand that you have the right to be represented by an attorney.
I do understand I have a right to be represented by an attorney or not. Yes, sir.
Okay. You've previously waived that right. As I said, I have to advise you that at every stage of the hearing. So I have to ask you again, would you like to be represented by an attorney at this point?
As I started to say, Your Honor, I don't want the representation. However, I will use the help of handling paperwork due to my means here and having access to certain things in paperwork. I will use your court-appointed attorneys just to help with some paperwork.
Okay, so you don't have a right to have the public defender's office do your paperwork or handle any of that. You have the right to have them represent you or not represent you. So that is your choice.
Not represent me, that's fine then.
All right. So you've previously been arraigned on the probation violation. Do you know how you want to proceed? So your options are you can plead to it if you want, which means you'd be admitting guilt. The other option is that I can set it for a hearing and we can have a hearing on the matter, and then I'll decide based on the evidence submitted at that hearing.
Your Honor, all due respect, I wish, are you working under oath of office today, sir?
Sir, I'm not going to answer these questions or deal with this. We've dealt with you before and your sovereign citizen arguments. I've rejected them all.
Citizen.
Sir, do not interrupt me. Do you want to have a hearing or do you want to plead?
I'll take your silence under your oath, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you want to have a hearing or do you want to plead?
I want the hearing. I want to go to trial. I want to go within the 90 days to a trial or sooner.
All right. So Sierra will need about a 1-hour hearing on a probation violation.
As well as I'd like you to have the arresting officers that arrested me on that day. I would like their sergeant to be dressed in uniform and at that trial on that day.
can't help himself. He starts rambling about the oath of office and fighting clauses. The judge tries to reel him in, but he keeps unmuting himself like a kid who can't stop interrupting the teacher. Eventually, she has to mute him mid-sentence, twice, and then it gets even dumber. He says he doesn't want a lawyer to represent him, but he does want one to help with paperwork. Like, what? Attorneys are not your personal assistants. They're there to defend you, not fill out your forms while you argue with the court. At this point, you can see the judge's patience wearing thin, but she keeps her composure better than most would. Honestly, if I was sitting on that bench, I'd be done. Contempt charge, case closed, then comes the real circus. He starts demanding a state police sergeant to be present at his probation hearing. Not the one who arrested him, just any sergeant in uniform. He says it's to show how arrests are made. Like, sir, this isn't a police training video. This hearing is about whether you reported to probation, not about how officers put on handcuffs. It's almost like he's improvising his...
I think it will go more smoothly if you are here in person, so we will have you in person here from the jail.
All right, exactly what the hearing is going to be on that day?
So you've been charged with a violation of the terms of your probation.
Yeah.
For failing to report. So the hearing is going to be to determine whether or not you failed to report.
Okay, so it's going to be the trial that day.
Correct.
Okay, can I have the state police sergeant there at that trial?
What state police sergeant?
The state police sergeant of the arresting officers on the night of my arrest.
Who are the arresting officers?
I don't remember the exact names, but any state police sergeant in uniform would do.
Why do you want any state police sergeant to be present at the trial?
Just to show how arrests are made, and why they're made, and how they do the determination, how they bring people into jail.
Well, how is any of that relevant to whether or not you violated the terms of probation?
I believe there's a lot of relevancy there. I don't see where any of it's going to affect the courts in any way, shape, or form.
All right. So the issue that the court is going to determine has nothing to do with things that happened during your arrest. The issue is whether or not.
It's not about the arrest. It's about the arrest for the violation of probation as well.
All right. The only issue before the court that day is going to be whether or not you reported. So your arrest doesn't have any relevancy to that. So I'm not going to.
I beg to differ, Your Honor. I beg to differ because the jury is going to be a jury of my peers, and at this time,
sir,
you're not going to have a jury of my peers.
Sir, there's not going to be any jury. You're not entitled to a jury trial on a hearing about violating your probation.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I'm pretty sure that last time I spoke to you, you said that I had the right to a jury trial for determining if I was guilty for a violation of probation.
I've never seen you on this violation of probation.
I've seen you, or I've seen you just the other day, last week.
No, you didn't. A different judge conducted that hearing.
You're Michael Olsaver, aren't you? There was Judge Sloan, and then there was you. I've seen both.
You did not see me last week.
I did.
And so you're not entitled to a jury trial on a probation violation. So again, we will have you back in person on.
Well, hold up then. So if I'm not entitled to a trial to determine if I'm guilty or not, this is a criminal court, isn't it?
It's a criminal court where you have already pled guilty to a felony and been placed on probation.
Because I was at risk of dying in this.
I've muted Mr. Matson's device because he continues to interrupt me and not let me finish what I'm saying. Mr. Matson, I was saying that this is a criminal court wherein you have pled guilty to possessing a controlled substance, and you were placed on probation. As a result of that, your sentence was to be placed on probation. Subsequent to being sentenced to probation, there was an allegation that you failed to report in accordance with the terms of your probation. That is an alleged violation of probation. There's no right to a jury trial for a violation of probation, so the court will conduct. Let
me speak to.
I've muted Mr. Matson again because he unmuted himself and interrupted me. We will have you back on April 8th at 3:30, Mr. Matson. This hearing.
Defense on the spot. By this point, even the judge has to explain, slowly, like to a child, that the hearing has nothing to do with his arrest. But he keeps arguing, insisting that it's all relevant. And when she tells him there won't even be a jury trial because probation violations don't work that way, he accuses her of lying. You can feel the judge's restraint through the screen. She's trying to hold this thing together while he turns it into a one-man show. And just when you think it can't get worse, it does. He starts claiming he remembers the judge from a previous hearing, even though it was a completely different judge. You can hear her voice tighten a bit as she says, "That wasn't me." But he keeps going, convinced he's caught her in some grand conspiracy. Finally, she lays it all out crystal clear. This man already pled guilty to a felony, possession of a controlled substance, and was placed on probation. Now he's accused of violating those terms. That's it. That's all this hearing is about. But before she can even finish explaining, he unmutes himself again, cutting her off mid-sentence. At this point, she just mutes him completely. And honestly, who can blame her? You can feel the exhaustion in her tone as she schedules his next hearing, in person this time. Because clearly, Zoom court isn't working for this guy. Maybe seeing the judge face-to-face will make him realize this isn't some online debate. It's a courtroom. And here's where I stand on this. Sovereign citizens like him are turning courtrooms into comedy shows. They talk in circles, waste time, and make a complete mockery of the justice system. Judges shouldn't have to deal with this circus every week. Honestly, I think courts should require these people to appear in person. No more hiding behind a webcam while spouting legal gibberish. Anyway, that's all for this one. Let me know in the comments. Do you think this guy's genuinely confused, or is he just pretending to be? Because I can't tell if he's delusional or just desperate. Either way, it's painful to watch. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more breakdowns like this. And trust me, the next part of this hearing gets even crazier. Stay tuned.